I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video, and this is another paid request from Marv B. Thank you so much. Now, this is, first off, if anyone's ever interested in requesting any type of reviews or topics, reactions, pretty much any type of that, you feel free to request either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is a film that I was a bit unsure of because Brad Jones Cinema Snob, he's reviewed a lot of religious movies, and also with some of the other films Marby requested, await further instructions. I'm like, oh man. What's sad is the religious movie that's a rip-off of The Family Man when this was staged was the best movie of the four. I'm not even kidding. This movie is not my kind of movie, but for what it is, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad for what it is. I guess if you're really into Christian movies, I don't go out to seek them. I will say one of the things that worked was Kevin Sorbo. I like Kevin Sorbo as an actor. He plays the lead. I liked him from Hercules' Legendary Journeys. I know he's been in a lot of these religious movies like God's Not Dead and some of this other stuff, and I've heard horror stories about them. But what if, liking Kevin Sorbo, I liked his performance in this. And yes, it's a total rip-off of The Family Man. If you don't even know what that story is, that was the film with Nicolas Cage. He's a successful businessman. And then one day, Don Cheadle, he's an angel, gives him a second chance. Like, hey, this is what you missed out. Same thing here, only instead of Don Cheadle, it's John Ratzenberger from Cheers. He was good too. You know, he plays this tow truck driver, but he's also this, this mechanic, I should say. He's this mechanic, but he's also an angel. And his dialogue with Kevin Sorbo was fine. John Ratzenberger had a decent sense of humor in the movie. Kevin Sorbo, he's a guy who's very much into his career, but he's not a total evil guy. He's a financial wizard, but he's also decent enough to give his secretary a raise when he becomes successful. So he's not a total dickwad either. There's some weird stuff. This one point he buys his car. I didn't know where the fuck he was at, because it's this completely white room where a woman is in the corner playing a piano. I'm like, is this heaven? No, it's a completely white room. Big room. Again, there's a girl in the corner playing a piano, and it's where Kevin Sorbo buys a new car. I'm like, where the fuck is this place? So he's driving the new car, and all of a sudden the car is fucking up. Airbag knocks him out. He wakes up, meets John Ratzenberger, and then again he's pulled into this small town. And I said, well, what if you had said yes to Kristy Swanson, the original Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer? If you had said yes, you'd have this family, you'd have these 2 kids, these 2 daughters, a teen daughter, a little girl, and you'd be a pastor in a church where you're living right next to it. And Kevin Sorbo, I thought, made the film work for me. I liked him as an actor, and it takes him a while to understand what's going on, but I do like the fact that for a chunk of it, he's still in that business sense where he's trying to look at it as a businessman. So, like, he has this kid who keeps seeing the older daughter. He walks up and pays the kid, listen, here's $80, don't see her again. Or he kind of almost makes fun of the situation he's in. Like, even to the kids, like, yeah, you are my kids. You don't exist, though. And yeah, I was with an angel, but, you know, he's a mechanic with a bad breath and a $9 haircut. And, like, the way, like, these kids, they go out and say their prayers in the living room, and, like, the look Kevin Sorbo gives, it does go a bit, I mean, it's a Christian film, so it definitely goes into the, and for me, I mean, I want to believe, so I'm open-minded when it comes to religion. I'll say I'm open-minded. You know, I do want to believe. But, you know, when she said, Kristy Swanson says a line like, when she's arguing with the daughter, if you can't thank Jesus for everything he's given you, then maybe you should start giving some stuff back, like your cell phone. And it's like, okay, moments like that, it's like, okay, this is why I don't really watch religious movies, because of stuff like that. But then, like, Kevin Sorbo would say a line, like, the little girl's goldfish passed away. And so Kevin Sorbo goes, I don't know, maybe he didn't love Jesus the way he was supposed to. Mommy, my goldfish is in hell. I did Kevin Sorbo, that was or like there's this commitment test for this newlyweds, so he gives them financial advice, and like, you know, what do you guys make? I don't know, I mean, you get together, and, you know, and then you probably don't have to sell that car, you don't have to get a minivan, you know, how's that going to work for your financials, your finances? And then Kristy Swanson has to interject, well, the Lord says there's 100 consultations a day. I kind of appreciate I almost appreciate the idea that Kevin Sorbo, it takes him a while to get turned, so to speak. Because the fact, like, in the beginning of the film, he's contemplating, and she's like, oh, I thought you were going to go for your degree and be a pastor. He's like, well, you know, I'm going to do this for 8 months. I'll come back. He never did. So it is about a guy regaining his faith, so to speak. And even Kevin Sorbo is saying, you know what is the point of this? Like, you know, what am I supposed to do? And John Ratzenberger's like, well, you're supposed to, you know, it is one of those weird things that there's many times where Sorbo says, I want out. But it's like, well, I guess God's not giving him a choice. Like, literally forcing him into, they literally say, into total surrender. Total surrender. Oh, okay. So it is one of those weird things that, okay, it's God forcing you to do something. Even though he says you have a choice, but you don't really have a choice. I don't know, just something about that. I don't know what it is. Something about that I thought was weird. I can't put my fingers on it. Like the score, I thought the musical score was nice and subtle, you know, sweet music. I think that helped a bit. And yeah, Kevin Sorbo's performance, like when he's watching these home movies about the, you know, the wedding and the birth of the kids, and, you know, has conversations with his wife, and he's like, you know what, let me try this out, and it's helping the kids out, and There's a nice scene where he's talking to a man on his bed dying. Hey, listen, I'm new to this. There's no magic spell. Just admit that, hey, what you did in your life was wrong, and, you know, God will forgive you. And in a way, giving him, I don't want to say the last rites, but as I keep repeating, Kevin Sorbo, I thought, really made the film work. If you don't give a shit about Kevin Sorbo, I don't know if you give a shit about the movie, but even when John Ratzenberger after that says, well, I got the call, you're going back, he's like, what? You driving his life kicking and screaming, and now you send me back? Like, well, what was the point? And you find out what the point is at the end. So what if it's the production value you would see maybe a Lifetime channel? I mean, it's not as if it's a giant big production. This is not the type of film I would go watch usually. But with all the horror stories I've heard of the other like religious films Brad Jones has seen, this one wasn't. I don't really find anything that egregiously bad about it. Original, no. Like I said, if you've seen The Family Man with Nick Cage, it's that movie, but Kevin Sorbo and a bit of religion in it. I probably, honestly, would say I like this more than The Family Man because I like Nick Cage, but Kevin Sorbo growing up with Hercules' Legendary Journeys, it was just nice to see him play the role. A role like this. I thought it was just, he did a good job with it, and let's see, some of the really, you know, push the religion into it. Again, it's a Christian film, what do you expect? But at the same time, it was more tolerable than I would think it would be. And it's, from what I understand, a lot of the other religious movies, these seems a lot less preachy compared to those movies. I would say it was nice to see John Ratzenberger. He was in House 2, The Second Story, TV show Cheers. Kristy Swanson, I don't think it was a fantastic performance she gave, but it was okay. It was nice to see her again after the live action film. She's been in other stuff as well, but she was the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mentioned the score. It was nice and sweet and, you know, subtle. Like when he's watching the footage of the birth of his daughters. And I don't know, just considering some of the stuff I had seen recently, it was the film that pissed me off the least. And again, if you are someone who is very religious, Christian or whatever, this seems like a movie that would fit well for you. And again, doesn't seem as batshit insane as some of these films I've heard of that Brad Joseph has reviewed. This seems like a religious film kind of done the right way, if that makes sense. Again, not the most original film, but wasn't that bad. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So, I guess that's saying something. What if? More like, of the 4 films, the one I liked the most was the religious movie with Kevin Sorbo. But hey, that's the fun of it. That's one of the fun things about it. So, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.